like, I have 2 kids. And I'm like, huh? Boy, you wish. Don't say that's not happening. First of all, my cousins will kill me. Like, you just met him. You're not gonna. No, that's not happening, you know. So I texted him. I was like, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna drive back with my cousins to Lagos, and maybe we can make a plan once we get to Lagos. So he was like, okay, cool. So to me, that's another red flag, because I'm like, why are you thirsty to get us in a room alone? I mean, obviously I'm not dumb, I know that, but I'm just like, you need to chill a little. So we get to Lagos and he starts texting me and he's like, yeah, I'm in this part of Lagos, we should get together. At this point, I'm at my aunt's house and I just didn't want him up in the house. So we don't hang out at my aunt's place and we hang out somewhere else. But I think he already knew that your girl loves to eat. So he's ordering mad food. And we're just chilling, we're watching TV and all this stuff and just being super cool and chill and, you know, talking. So obviously he starts to get a little handsy and I'm just like, I'm gonna need you to chill, you know. And he's like, what's wrong? Like, don't you trust me? I was like, nigga, I don't know you. Like, I don't know you. First, I was just like, I don't. And then he goes, okay. So this was his attempt in trying to get me to know him. It's like, I have 2 kids. And I'm like, huh? What? Like, where did that come from? The day before we had all this conversation about his business and his mom and his dad and his relationship with them, and your kids didn't come up. I'm like, okay. How old are they? He said the oldest is 13. I'm like, all right. This is literally how I'm answering, because your girl is confused. And I was like, okay, so where's your mom? He said their mom is in Germany. And then he asked, he's like, yeah, white woman, she's German. I was like, all right, cool. And then he continues, he's like, yeah, they're with their mom. And I was like, all right, well, thank you for letting me know. I'm just like, okay, cool. So we end the night, and that was that. And the next morning, I walked him to his taxi that was gonna drive him back to where he was. He already knew that I love traveling, and I was just a free bird. I wanted to go everywhere. So before he left, he just sort of was like, fully, you come to Europe and we can spend time together, or I come to the US. And at this point, I kind of was like, because I hadn't done my European tour that I was planning on doing, and I was like, yeah, like, I'll probably be at your place at some point. So he gives me a kiss and, you know, he drives away. So the plan for the rest of the day was to spend time with my cousins and family before I flew back to the US the next day. So throughout the day, he's texting me, he's checking up on me, sending pictures, I'm sending pictures. We're just being a really cute couple. So I get back to the house and I'm talking to my cousins, and I just kind of told them, give them the lay of the land of what happened. And one of my cousins pointed out, and she's just like, well, so he mentioned he has 2 kids, and the one, like, so are they still together? And in my head, I'm like, I mean, I didn't ask him that, but I don't think they're together, because naively, I'm like, what? Of course they're not together. He didn't make it sound like they were together, but did I get a direct answer from him? No. But I just ignored it. Me and my sister, the next morning, we got on our flight. So our flight had a layover in London for I think about 20 hours or some shit. So we get to London, we're still texting. I remember the whole time I'm texting him because I think he had been to London. I'm not sure. And I was just kind of telling him my plans. Let me just ask if, how do I ask this? Because I was like, I'll just come out and ask it. It seems weird, but I know he's not together with, you know, the woman. So we're talking, and I kind of randomly dropped it out of the, just dropped it in the conversation. I was like, yeah, so you know, you say you have 2 kids. He's like, yeah. Like, so are you married to the mom? Are you guys still together? This guy responded. He responded, let's talk about when we see each other. Nigga, what? I'm like, first of all, that makes no sense, because at this point we had just met. We don't know, we hadn't planned when we're gonna meet each other. And what the fuck does that mean? It's a simple question. Are you married or not? Are you with this woman or not? You know? So at this point I'm getting irritated. So I text back, I'm like, first of all, I don't know when I'm gonna see you. Second of all, it's a simple question, like I said. Which one is it? And he's like, oh, like, I just need you not to be judgmental right now, and you know, it's just a lot of stuff going on, and I need you to be understanding. And in my head, you know what, I should wrap this up. This should be it. It should be done. And I texted him, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't even want to try to imagine what situation you have going on there, but we're so early on in this situation that both of us have on that I'm gonna move on. So I ignore him for the rest of the day. He's texting me, he's blowing up my phone. He's like, you know, we should talk, let's video chat, blah blah blah. I remember being at the airport and going back and forth in my head, should I respond to him, should I respond to him? And finally, I was like, okay, let me FaceTime him. So I FaceTime him, and he's just like, I just need you to not jump to conclusions right now. There's just so much going on, and I would prefer if we had time to really sit down in a better situation and just talk about it. So at this point, I decided to just kind of put it on the back burner until I was back in the US. I get back to New York. We're FaceTiming every day. 3 times a day. I remember my roommate at the time was just like, girl, you guys are doing the most. But he's still avoiding the topic, still not talking about it. And I guess in a way too, I was avoiding talking more about it or finding more about it because I wasn't sure what the result would be. And I remember talking to my girlfriends and asking advice. Like, I've never been in a situation like this before. He lives in Germany. I mean, supposedly, because when I flew back to the US, he flew back to Ghana actually, because like I said, he had a business there. But supposedly he has his family in Germany. He has 2 kids. He has this woman that he hasn't really confirmed if they're married or not, or together or not. I'm not sure. And I was just like, you know, I was asking advice, like, what do you guys think? And some of them were like, well, maybe they're not really together. Maybe he just got with her because of papers, and it's kind of complicated, and you know, all the scenarios. So to be honest, I think it got to a point where I just kind of convinced myself that maybe that's the situation. Maybe he got together with her because of papers, and they had kids, and he got stuck in it, and now they're trying to get divorced. Because throughout the time, we just spend so much time talking to each other that I'm like, when does he have the time to really talk to the other lady? Like, they can't, I don't think they're together. And also, like I said, at that time he was in Ghana. And I remember him FaceTiming me, and he basically had this bachelor pad with his friend. That when he showed me the bachelor pad in my head, I'm like, he has to be single. Like, who has this kind of life? And I was just like, yeah, I don't think he's with that lady. And I was just kind of accepting it. And I guess for me, overthinking at the same time, I'm like, wait, shit. Of course he's able to have this life. Of course he's able to have this double life of having this bachelor pad in Ghana and doing business and God knows wherever the fuck he's doing in Ghana, and then goes back to Germany to be with this woman. So at this point I go from, oh, there's no way he has time for me and the lady and other females, to like, no, actually it's possible. He has the setup for him to be able to get away with things like that. So I'm overthinking this, and then within a week or 2 weeks of me getting back to the US and us talking every day, I bring up the conversation again. And I think I brought this upon myself because I was the one that was like, no, I'll probably be in Europe, I'll probably be in Germany. So that's when he's like really pressuring me to not only come but move there. But that wasn't really his fault because I already kind of confessed to him about how I was done with the US. Like he was really into me moving to Germany. And in my dumbass head, I'm thinking like, wow, he's really serious. It's like, no bitch, it's a setup. It's a setup. So like I said, a week or maybe a week and a half into it, I bring up the conversation again. I was like, you know, I'm talking about possibly moving to Germany and you're really excited. And so I'm trying to pressure him to see like, okay, it's gonna take me a while to figure out the whole Germany thing. It's like, why don't you come to the US? And he's like, oh, I don't really want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So he's just ignored it. And I just gotta say the elephant in the room. I was like, where is this going? Like, I can't keep talking to you when we haven't established the fact if you're with this woman or not. And you keep saying you want to have the conversation in person, even though I don't get why the fuck we cannot have the conversation on FaceTime, on video, and you refuse to come to the US too. So I'm getting mad and I'm just going off. So I guess he gets irritated too. And he's like, you're just so judgmental. You don't know what's going on in people's life. All you're doing is like thinking about yourself and your feelings, not thinking about my feelings. And he's trying to make me seem crazy. You know, he's like, this is your fault. I'm like, how am I being judgmental? You're the one over here with 2 kids and a woman who you won't tell me you're still with and you're still talking to me and flirting with me and making plans for me to come to Germany. I'm over it. I'm like, come on now. Just answer the question, are you with her or are you not? And he's like, it's complicated than that. I can't talk about any of the stuff right now. So I get off the phone and I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. The girl is strong. So at this point, he's still texting me, you know, trying to act like nothing happened, like good morning, all this stuff. And so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I'm trying to see his point of view. I'm like, maybe he is going through a very difficult time and he can't really talk about it right now. Kind of come to terms with the fact that he's not gonna really tell me the truth until we see each other. So at this point, I want to say we're like a month into knowing each other, between me seeing him in Nigeria and coming back to the US and him being in Ghana and then back in Germany. We're still talking and all of that. This was the last straw for me, okay? You know what I'm saying? At this point, it seems like we're in a full-blown relationship. He's texting me good morning, we're checking on each other. He's FaceTiming me in Germany. So we're FaceTiming and he goes in what I think was his living room or something. And he's watching TV. And for some reason, the lights just go off, like in his part. Like it's just off. I'm like, why did he turn? Like that was so random. It wasn't like he was about to go to bed. Like he was just sitting and watching TV or something and the lights go off. And I hear him talking to someone and it sounds like a lady. I mean, obviously he's not putting the FaceTime on her. The FaceTime is kind of like half on his face, half not. And I hear a lady and I'm like, who is that? He's like, oh, it's no one. I'm like, who is that? And he just kind of, the way he brushes it off, like almost like I imagined it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, no, we're not going down this road. You are not about to make me seem crazy. Like you were just talking to a female. It might have not been the wife or the mother of his kids, but it was sure some other female. And that's when it just kind of dawns on me. I'm like, bitch, he's not to be trusted, because from the first night we met up together at the restaurant at the hotel, and he said he had some other chick's Instagram. That was a red flag. The picture's changing and now some random female's voice in the background, and I was just like, oh hell no, like this is not how it's going down. But from then on, I just kind of was like, we have to dip this. Like, I'm done, we're not doing this, let's just move on. And we just kind of stopped talking after that. But he would text me once in a while, like just checking up on me, like, hey, how's it going? And I did that too. So that was my story. It wasn't that long. Like we were talking for at this maybe 2 months at most. So I found that pretty early. But thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, hit that button. Y'all have a nice day and see ya.